Guys, it's David here. I'm just doing the London recap for Monday. Recap EU and AU. There was potentially a nice sell on EU with an M5 entry model, but it just decided to pass on it, as I'll explain why. It just wasn't that clean from an M15 perspective, I felt. But anyway, we'll do a quick recap of the daily. So daily, as you know, is bullish. We've mitigated the demand and the discount, so expectation is that price will follow through and run this week high. At the end of last week, had a bearish chalk, so we do have valid demand here. Again, following the bearish chalk, it is entirely possible that price could come down and run this low. However, this demand, those little sell to buy wicks, were completely unmitigated. So you can see we pushed up a lot of momentum out of them, and then we had this bit of a pullback here. Didn't mitigate the demand, pushed up. So it is possible that we only chalk bearish to mitigate this demand, and that price will continue higher, sort of in line with the swing trend. So coming into session today, and favoured buys, just at the very least anticipating a pullback into this supply, while understanding that it's also possible that this high could get run. So from the daily, that's what I was expecting. From a 4-hour perspective, see again, we had this range which was completely unmitigated, so price usually wants to come back and mitigate everything. If there's orders left in an area, then price will usually gravitate towards that. So we had the bearish boss here, but it's entirely possible that we only switch bearish to mitigate this range. But at the very least, as we're bearish, it's possible the price will come up here or here and then continue lower and continue the bearish trend. So this morning, at the very least, what I was anticipating was basically playing this move here, the pullback into 4-hour supply, while understanding that it is possible that, having mitigated this demand, that the higher time frame, in this case the daily objective, may be complete and that we may switch bullish again. But yeah, keep it simple. Coming into session, we're in the discount of the 4-hour swing range. Yeah, I just wanted to keep playing that pullback. So look for buys in the M15. Now the M15 coming into session was pretty messy, unfortunately. Replay this to where we were sitting. So this was the M15 swing range, that was the M15 swing high, this was the M15 swing low. So you can see we've had the bullish IBOS and another bullish IBOS, so that's very likely facilitating at a minimum the M15 swing pullback. So we've mitigated the premium. However, if you look left, we haven't mitigated any clear supply on the M15 or the 4-hour. So it was probable coming in session that price is going to continue higher, in line with the M15 internal trend. So in terms of getting along, you can see we had this sort of very messy sideways correction. So ideally, to get long, what I wanted to see was either a clear breakout of this range, which would then give us another IBOS here, and then sort of a pullback into demand, and then look for a buy within there. Or usually when you have a very corrective move like that and you have a lot of liquidity printed, you want to see price liquidate something significant. So if you look at sort of that whole sideways range, that's a pretty significant low to look for an entry. So I was waiting to see maybe price will come down, liquidate this, and then try and get in on the M5 or the M1 there. So there were the two main ideas: either look for a bullish IBOS and look for a trade within the new range, or wait for a sweep of liquidity. If you play it on, see no close above the high yet, so we have a strong liquidation there. Failed to close above the high again, and then decent amount of bearish momentum. So at this point, we had a bearish M15 shock, so we have this supply to potentially look for a long. Again, price failed to close above the high. We have strong liquidation, as obviously that was a bearish shock. So we had a strong liquidation, we had a bearish M15 shock. So valid look for buys, it was or valid look for sells in the fresh supply, and we also had the sweep of the low, which I identified. So it was valid to look for an entry from there to get long. There was a potential M1 entry there, but you can see we liquidated the low denoted by the X. The PBL, if you take the whole range, had the little reaction where price reacted to the PBL and the reaction failed. So it was valid to enter here, but price mitigated the M15 supply before coming back to entry, so personally I would have cancelled at that point. So there was a valid entry model there if you wanted to take it, but would have cancelled it before the M15 supply. Now, having come into the M15 supply, this is where it was completely valid to look for a sell. I just sort of, it wasn't the cleanest M15 price action, so personally I was happy to just leave it alone. You know, we'd failed to close above this low, we'd failed to close below this low, so you know, price failing to close below the lows doesn't really signal that much bearish intent. Internal was bullish. You know, it's possible that we only push lower to mitigate something within this range. You can see we also have 4 hour demand down here as well, so wasn't massively a fan of trading against that. Again, it's valid to do so, but yeah, personally I was just happy enough to leave it. Again, if you don't accept the risk in a trade, you're better off just not taking it, because again, if you don't accept the risk and you end up taking a loss, then that can sort of mess your emotions. You know, you can start, you know, feeling as though the market's against you. You know, it's just not good for the emotion. So personally, didn't really like the M15 setup, so was happy enough to leave it. But the M5 entry model was pretty much as clean as it comes. Just play it on here. So yeah, take it back just slightly. So yeah, we mitigated the M15 supply. See here, blue box, left perfect equal highs, came down, failed to take out the low. So yeah, just want to see liquidation, PBL failed, chalk, V shape, all the usual good stuff. The entry model, liquidation of the highs. So the PBL was here on the M5. And then yeah, so PBL fail. Enter, and no, the flip is only buy to sell wicks. So entry on the extreme 0.25, and yeah, you can see price pull back in, and it won't be a break even now. What a trade to break even here, but as I said, just wasn't the biggest fan of the M15 framework. Wasn't really happy to accept the risk, so just left it alone. Which I'm happy enough with. Obviously, it looks like it's going to play out in this occasion, but happy enough to leave it. On the M1, then there was potential entry too. So already covered the potential buy following the sweep. There was a no tag, and then here again, liquidated the equal highs. Again, super clear. Pretty much picture perfect M1 equal highs. Extreme had inducement, so the extreme would have been the place to enter. This little, it's not really, it flipped this sort of range, but it's not the cleanest flip. Yeah, probably would have been a no tag on the extreme. But yeah, another valid entry model. As I said in the M15, wasn't the biggest fan of looking for sells at that point, but again, it's valid to do so depending on how aggressive you want to be. So yeah, one potential mistrade on, or one potential trade in the M5 that was sort of passed on, that I'm happy enough with passing on, to be honest. Again, on another day I probably would have taken it if I was just feeling a bit more aggressive, but today I just wasn't really feeling the risk. On AU then, again, just a reminder to everyone, I'm not actually trading this pair anymore. Just still do the markups just to help you out, but yeah, just in case people are wondering why I'm never taking trades on it or anything, it's purely just markups. So swing bearish, expecting the low to get run eventually. Internal switch bullish here. Mitigated this supply, which has obviously been the catalyst for a pullback. So yeah, obviously I've had a pretty decent pullback now. I've mitigated the EQ of the internal range, so what the most likely scenario is that we'll mitigate this demand or this demand and then continue higher in line with the internal trend. But of course, overall we're bearish, so it wouldn't be a massive, that's quite a straight push as well. There's very little inducement in the leg, so it wouldn't be the biggest surprise to see price continue lower. On the 4H then, swing and internal bearish. This is the current swing range, that's the high, and then yeah, I wouldn't really call that a swing low yet, but that's the low of the current range anyway. So yeah, we've mitigated this 4 hour demand. possible that this is going to make catalyst for at least a pullback into 4 hour supply for the next bearish leg, but as you can see, so far it's a very weak reaction. So wouldn't be a massive surprise to at least see this get swept, and then maybe we'll see the more complex pullback. So yeah, it could be the catalyst for the pullback, but no real great signs that is likely beginning yet. On the M15 then, so swing and a turn or a bearish. This is a swing high at the black dot. This is the swing low at this black dot. So swing and a turn or bearish. We've mitigated this supply, which is sort of the unmitigated supply within the range. We had these sort of equal lows to target. So yeah, massively favoured sells coming into session where I'd have traded. You can see here we had a flip, price reacted to the demand, tried to push up and failed, and then took out this low. So that would have been the ideal POI during session to potentially look for a sell to potentially target this low. If it dropped to M1, then there was no clean entry model. So again, M15 POI had no lid, so you'd want to see a strong liquidation at a minimum. And as you can see, that did not happen. Had a strong liquidation there, but then price just pulled back into the PBL and continued higher. Yeah, had a bearish chalk there, so if price had taken out that high, then you could have looked for the sell. But yeah, no liquidity entry model there anyway. AU, one of the main reasons why I stopped trading it was just it has a tendency to not respect the photon concepts, the entry models, etc., as much as other pairs. So I would encourage you to focus on EU as your main pair if you're trading the lower time frames, as it is the one that respects the concepts the most. So yeah, that's EU and AU. Just the one potential trade for me in the M5 that I passed on. Happy enough to have passed on it, to be honest. Yeah, so that's that. If you have any questions with this morning's price action, just tag me in one of the channels in the Discord and I will get back to you. Thanks, guys.